to Dr. Campbell.
Thank you, Minister. How do you see PHARMAC contributing to the broader health system's priorities?
Well, it's a really interesting question, because if I look at the bigger problem that we have in this country, it's that our demographics are aging, our healthcare need is increasing, and the further you look into the future, the harder it is for the numbers to add up. This is a problem for everyone. It doesn't matter which political party you're in or what your views are. The obvious solution is to increase productivity in medicine, and one of the ways to do that is to get better skilled, better trained people. But I think we actually have very good people. Another way to do it is to get better technology, and that's where I think the big opportunity is. So what I'm challenging PHARMAC to do is to shift from what's currently a statutory framework, and I've done this, I think, to the letter, which is how much can you get for the budget that you've got, and to instead ask the question, well, could you get better value if you were able to spend more? In other words, can you fund things that would actually save money elsewhere in the society if you had a bigger budget? And I've challenged PHARMAC in their budget bid for 2025 to find some examples that mean that they might not get a lot of extra money, but to improve PHARMAC's budget by bringing technology, medicines and technologies into the healthcare system. So it's all about technology absorption, productivity, better outcomes for patients by widening the scope and view of PHARMAC.
So,
on a limited
does that
budget?
include where investments may reduce the expenditure in other parts of the healthcare system and also societal benefits as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And the government is very excited about social investment, and that means it's expenditure that gives you a return that you can demonstrate elsewhere in society. Our chair, Paula Bennett, was a former minister in a previous government that was also very committed and involved in developing those concepts, and this would be another example of that.
All right, that takes us on to...
Okay, so...
Yeah, I got problems with what he said there, especially in regards to Māori. There are, he's like, oh, okay, everyone's the same, everyone needs the same treatment. That is not the case in medicine. That is definitely not the case in medicine. People have different genetic disorders. Some ethnic groups are more predisposed to developing genetic problems than others. There are mutations you got to consider into account. Māori are at a higher risk of developing cancer. That's not to say that Europeans don't develop cancer, obviously, but they're at a higher rate, so they need a bit more priority, right, in order to see equitable outcomes. And PHARMAC have said that in their report. They said under the section strategic priorities, and yes, I'm going to be reading off my screen. Each priority is underpinned by activities and initiatives to support te tiriti or waitangi. So they recognise te tiriti. They're very specific in that language, not the treaty, te tiriti. Health equity, improved collaboration and engagement, and organisational excellence. So that was the quote that they put in their latest report.
Yeah, I find it quite inconsistent with what he said about if we can give PHARMAC more money when he is one of the primary people advocating to cut state departments' budgets. So,
and also not just to throw money at the problem.
Yeah. His entire argument is that can you find more value for money within the budget you have with everything else, but when it comes to PHARMAC, it's a different level playing field. It's just incredibly inconsistent from him. And when it comes to Māori, I mean, I think if Te Rōpū Māori, which is the Māori advisory group for PHARMAC, since that was disestablished, was that successful? That's the question I ask about that, right? Because if it wasn't successful, right, I don't see it. I just kind of understand his perspective of disestablishing it, but if it was an incredibly successful advisory group for Māori and it was a great way to get Māori in the health system, then that's just it's completely ideological. But if it wasn't successful, I can kind of see why he would disestablish it, because it's not a successful thing in bringing Māori into the health system.
Well, it's a good thing that it is successful.
Okay, good.
The demand is there. Like PHARMAC provides scholarships to Māori students that are looking to study things like pharmacology. It's very important to bring them in. Like my older sister studied immunology, worked as an immunologist over COVID and whatnot. So yeah, it's really important that that groups like PHARMAC are actually providing these scholarships to people.
Yeah,
to bring them in, because it increases the pool of talent.
Yeah.
Did that happen through Te Rōpū Māori, or did that happen through the wider Māori health strategy, Te Rautaki Whaoranga? Did that?
I'll have to ask you specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know for Māori students who might come from a less advantageous background. I come from a middle income background. My dad was an optometrist for many years. My grandfather was a pharmacist. But yeah, for other Māori who want to get into this field, there's often an economic barrier for them. Like, it costs a lot of money to go to school. You know,
Yep.
it's like the cost for them is greater quite often, you know, and a lot of these people have to travel in from rural areas, and there's all sorts of stuff. So those scholarships are really helpful.